These Elden Ring players, man, they gotta learn. What's up, Scrub Hub?
Why is this on my face? Ugh.
Oh, what's up, Doc? What up, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
I did a second week doing the hair.
Dude, the hair is down this time. So instead of just one side, I kind of like split it up.
I like it. It's long. Mine's getting there too. I had to get a hat just like last week to kind of hide the mess a little bit. I think it's helping.
I'm also sitting on this couch weird. It feels weird. This is not the normal couch I sit on.
That's right. You doesn't have your butt cave in it.
Yeah, you're sitting in my butt cave.
Sitting in it technically.
Like, no, that's my couch. That's the couch we normally use. That's the couch we normally use.
Yeah.
We're now using my wife's couch.
Right,
today.
but like when you're sitting at it and you're like,
yeah,
gaming.
normally you're in my butt. Well, last week you were in my butt cave. This week you're in hers.
Well,
based on the couch.
Oh, that's right. We did use your couch last week.
We used my couch.
That's right.
Which is normally the one I sit in.
Maybe
that's normally where I sit.
Maybe that's why this feels a little different. This is the one I used to sit in. I used to sit on that side. This is a long tangent.
Anyway, what is up, everybody? I am Doc Bishop.
I am Pants, and today we are jumping into your second opinion of Elden Ring.
Nice, because now we're going to start actually making content that makes sense.
That's right. A little bit of synergy here and there.
So this is the second opinion of Elden Ring.
Why is it the second opinion, though? Just briefly, because it's the first time we've ever...
Briefly, why this is the second opinion is because you have the first opinion. You are the person who plays the game. You are the person who looks up the game first. You are the person who decides whether you're going to get it or not get it. And if you decide you don't know, you seek out someone else's opinion to maybe persuade you to get it or not get it, which is the second opinion.
Second one, baby. Second one. So we are the second opinion, but...
Well, we're the Scrub Hub. This is the second opinion.
Yeah, this is the
of
second
Elden
opinion.
Ring.
Yeah. But to not be misconstrued, we haven't played it to its entirety. We haven't we haven't even played it at the same pace, you and I. We've just been enjoying it because it's so...
Do you know how many hours you have in right now?
I want to say I'm at 30.
30? I'm at 83, I think. 83 hours in Elden Ring.
I think that's a pretty diverse amount of time. I haven't put it's not like I've only played it for 4 hours. I've put a good amount into it.
So it's definitely safe to say there's potential spoilers in this because it's a game. It's been out for a couple weeks now.
Here's your horns.
Yeah. So there's potential spoilers. If you don't want to know about ins and outs of different parts of this game, we're not going to dive into every aspect. But if there's things you just don't want to know, then just walk away, play the game, come back. Maybe
now is your chance. But I'm willing to wager that a lot of people know what a Souls game is, right?
I believe so.
If you're a gamer,
you know what a Souls game is, and you at least understand terms that are like Souls-like. This game's Souls-like because it does something similar in...
A quick glossary, little Scrub Hub glossary. I remember us talking about that.
Yeah.
Iframes.
Iframes
just means invincibility frames. If I was to roll, I have a certain amount of invincibility frames that allows me to not be hit or receive damage or whatever. But as soon as I come out of that, the frame time, I can now be inflicted with damage.
Yeah. So
iframe.
And that's one. And then another aspect are the souls in Elden Ring. They're called runes. They are runes. They are runes.
And graces.
If you're like, they're still souls. No, you're wrong. They're runes. It is not a Dark Souls game. It's not Dark Souls. They're not bonfires. They're points of grace.
Yeah.
I will go to my grave.
Here's the 3 ones you got to know. They're runes, they're grace points, and they are rune arcs.
Rune arcs, yep.
Those are the 3 that I think you need to...
And so the biggest mechanic, though, is that when you kill an enemy, you get runes. Runes are your currency. They're used for buying items. They're also used for leveling up. They're your experience to level up the different stats. So you have this nice RPG stat block, strength and intelligence and faith and vigor, which is your health, and mind, which is your magic stuff like that. And you build your character up.
Real quick, how do you feel about the rune as opposed to the classic soul?
I mean, I think it's thematic. It makes sense. You
Does
know?
it?
I mean,
We've played different amounts of time.
so I don't know. Like,
So how does it?
it's all based around runes. Like runes, it's not. I've been seeing people say ruins. It's not ruins.
Yeah, because ruins is different.
it's.
That's a different word that gets used for a different thing.
I mean, a ruin is
There's
a
ruin pieces.
building that is destroyed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a ruin.
Yeah,
But a rune is
the currency.
the currency. There's also runes that are like written into stuff. They're usually symbols, and that seems to be what it actually is.
That seems like that's what they're kind of going from here.
So, like, as far as does it make sense? You kill an enemy and you get runes.
That's what I haven't really picked up on.
I don't
yet.
know. Like,
That's why I don't love. Like,
I don't know that connection. And
so,
I'm sure it's
I'm just
explained.
asking the question. I think if I knew, and there was like some reason, because with Souls games, the story's not super in your face. That you do get like a nice intro.
Yeah,
You get
also,
a baseline. Excuse me.
Also, dying's not the same. Like in the
Dying's
Souls
not the
game,
same.
in the Souls games, the idea was you were tethered because of something. Like normally you had like the mark of death or something like that tethered you to the world. So when you died, you were reconstituted. You were unalived or realived, and you were brought back to continue on your quest and the souls and stuff that you're killing from your enemies. In this one, I don't actually recall the reason, like the explanation between you dying and coming back to life either. Like it's the grace is guiding you and the grace is what's bringing you back. There's a very heavily like religious aspect to this game specifically.
It's very interesting. I love stuff like that. And that's kind of like where I was a little bit aiming at is Souls games. The story's not really in your face. It's a little convoluted, and a lot of it is thematic.
Oh, it definitely is convoluted, and it's all buried in item descriptions and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like getting to know the NPCs, talking with them, getting descriptions of things, like you said, items, or even just looking around the environment and like noticing architecture or art or whatever it be. The story is pretty convoluted, and a lot of times the themes intertwine with the mechanics in the game that the character or player has to use to do certain things are like tied in with that. So, yeah, like the runes, I didn't know what it was. Souls, at the very least, is like I can kill somebody and I get souls. So I know. So I've been trying to figure it out this whole time.
I don't know. I might have to look into that more because that definitely makes me kind of think like, what the heck am I actually doing?
Yeah. So like, it seems like just like the way that I've kind of looked at it so far is, you in other games you like beat an enemy and you get like coins.
Yeah, another game. So it's kind of like that,
or like a currency, or just little gold medallions. That's a good way to put it, or whatever. So that's kind of what I was thinking in my mind is what is runes, what a rune is.
Yeah,
but then you pick up the golden runes.
Golden runes are like
skulls
your hard runes.
Yes,
that you can pop and acquire a certain amount.
Right. So you pick those up and then you look at them, and it's like the image of it is really just like an orb.
It is.
It's just like a golden orb.
Is that what it is in the like main picture description? I know what it is in like the small little equipped slot. I haven't looked at them in the description.
I'm pretty sure it's like the same.
What does the description say? Maybe we should look at that. I didn't realize it was an orb.
Yeah, it looks like this little orb thing.
But I mean, so maybe it is a weird way to say souls, but they don't obviously don't want to use souls. It's not a souls game. It's
maybe
not
each person has an orb.
Maybe.
Or not, excuse me, not an orb, a rune.
Yeah.
We're all runes.
I don't know. Why are we talking about runes so long?
Well, the reason I asked is because you had brought up that we have runes.
Oh yeah, we have runes because it's not souls. It's not a Dark Souls game.
And you were just kind of then you dipped a little bit into stats and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, just talking about kind of what a Souls game is. That's pretty much it. So,
generally speaking, the combat is punishing. I think that's another given idea of a Souls game is it's the combat's usually very punishing.
It's definitely, it's not an easy game. It's not you walk in and think you're going to be able to do whatever. It is a systematic game. I've said this before in regards to other games. Dark Souls is systematic in the fact that you can't just say, "Hey, I'm strong," and go in and think you're going to beat something, because it doesn't matter. Like, is magic strong in this game? Yep, magic is strong, but so is any weapon that's leveled up. So is leveling up your strength. You can be super powerful, but that doesn't matter if you don't know how your enemy operates, because they can just one-shot you or do something crazy and kill you. I got killed by a dragon the other day. That freaking flew up in the air, summoned a big giant ice sword, swung down, killed me.
That's crazy.
Was I ready for that? No, I was not ready for that. I did not know that would happen.
Right.
But so it doesn't, so they're just things. So it's systematic, and and that's kind of why I love it, because you go in and you repeat these things, and it's a learning process, and you learn them. And then finally you're like, boom, got it. And you beat the boss or something, and you feel phenomenal.
Yeah. And I was just sharing that with you earlier about Dark Souls in general. Like, that was one of the things starting out with Souls games that made me really love it, is it pulled me out not only from a space of being a non-gamer for a while, where I just didn't play video games whatsoever. It can also, like, if given you're in the right space, because those games can make you frustrated.
Oh,
They can
will.
make you really upset.
It will.
But at the time when I was playing Dark Souls 3 a lot when it first came out, I hadn't played Souls games like a lot. But that game taught me a little bit about consistency and working and practicing and paying attention. This is a little bit of a melee term, dipping into this a little bit, but watching the screen. It became but you got to watch the screen, really watch it, pay attention to what your enemies are doing, and like you said, it's a little systematic. It's very strategic. You can't just go in and be like, oh, whap, I'm strong.
Yeah.
Dude,
you can't
they're
just,
all going to murder you.
You can't pull a Call of Duty and be like, hey, I'm a bullet sponge and I can take 50 bullets before I die. You have to pay attention.
Oh, yeah. A lot of times it's maybe 2, 3, late game, maybe 4 or 5 hits, and you're dead.
Maybe.
And that's a fucking
that changes
crazy
too,
good build.
because I've had bosses that I just fought that one shot at me.
Exactly,
one good hit.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's always weird, because sometimes you can roll all the way, but if you roll and get hit, maybe you take less damage than if you're just standing there.
There's
and then
headshots
get hit.
in this.
There's headshots. There's all kinds of stuff. You get hit in a certain way, you'll take more damage and you could die instantly.
You can also be backstabbed by certain enemies, which is here's another Scrub Hub glossary term. Backstab is where an enemy, there's also front stabs as well. If you get staggered, blah,
They're
blah,
called
blah.
visceral strikes.
Oh, are they? That's interesting.
Basically critical hits.
You know what? Before we jump into this, you gave me hassle. This is something. Oh, we're both on one couch, so okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real
My
estate.
bad.
No, that's your real estate.
Oh, dang.
did
Check
it
out my
again.
socks today.
Oh, socks. Bam, gotta pull them up. Pow. We got the blue
Check
Ranger.
that out. Blue Ranger socks.
That's
today.
sick. Also, congrats on your Pink Ranger collection stuff.
Oh, thanks.
I saw that.
I got a new figure, 2 double figures in there.
Yeah, it's super cool.
You can check that out at
Yeah.
RX_Bishop_MD on TikTok.
Quick plug. What was I saying?
I was giving you a hassle for something.
Oh, you were giving me hassle for not reading the tutorials and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That area that gives you all that shit, I never went to it. So I played
What are you
this game.
talking about?
When you start the game out, because Cole showed me this, there's the first boss, the very first boss. It's that big crab spider thing that's swinging around.
Yeah, that's the first boss.
Then there's the second boss,
Okay.
quote unquote, where you're walking and there's a guy sitting in the chair, and you can fall down, and he's says something about will you take the plunge?
Yeah, what's the second boss?
You walk when you get into that area. That's the
Oh,
first
there's a
section.
small, okay.
The whole area is the tutorial area that shows
whole
you all
cave.
that stuff.
The whole cave is a
no,
tutorial.
the bottom half.
It's all connected. It's all one big loop.
Bro, but what I'm saying is that you can continue going straight and skip and bypass all of that.
Sure.
Which is what I did. I didn't, because it's a fucking drop, bro. I literally went in. Okay, as a gamer, I walk into this space and I see, okay, I have an option right now to fall down this hole that I know I can't get out of, or I can explore ahead a little bit further and see what's ahead before making a decision that I can't back out of. You can always add more salt. You can't take more out of it. So I'm like, I'm not going to jump down that without being sure if this is the direction I want to go in. So I never went down there, which means I bypassed every single tutorial text that you gave me shit about. I didn't know how to, I literally, for context,
what one was I giving you crap?
How to two-hand a weapon. You gave me mad shit about that for not reading it. And I was like, what? And I was streaming it. That was the first thing I blamed on that. I was like, I was probably streaming and talking to chat or something. But I went back to that area at Cole's house and I was like, this is where it all is. That's why I never read it. So I played literally I think I played legitimately like 5-6 hours without knowing how to two-hand a weapon.
So you know what? I mean, it took me 40 hours before I realized.
I could have looked at the controls.
It took me like 40 hours before I realized shield counter. If you're holding a shield and you get hit by an enemy, you can press not L2, which is your Ashes of War abilities, but you can press R2 and you immediately shield counter.
Oh, if you're shielding it up.
If you're just holding the shield and they hit you, you can hit R2 and you do a counter attack. Doesn't cost FP, doesn't cost anything.
That's cool.
Took me a long time to figure that out. I'm sure it's in the tutorial. Now, if you were a brand new player that had never played a Souls game before, I would probably be like, oh, that's understandable because maybe you didn't know you could drop down there. Maybe you didn't realize it, so you just continued the way you were going. Because guess what?
But I talked to the guy and you can see.
Sure, and you can see that it's definitely a step where you roll off, you drop down. You roll off again, you drop down. You don't just fall in a hole that you can't see.
Obviously.
So my experience with that is I walked in, I saw him, he's like, oh, you can take the plunge and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, no thanks, man. I'm not going to do that right now. So I continued past him and I started going up the steps and I was like, oh, wait. And also you can look around and you can see items in that cave. I was like, oh, wait, this takes me outside. This is a continuation of the game. So now I am going to go back and go down that hole because I know that this way takes me out. So I went back to see if that would allow me to explore that cave more. And guess what? It does.
I didn't do that. Once I got free range of the rest of the game.
That's why I'm disappointed in you.
Dude, but I literally was trying to find like the shrine or like whatever. Because that's like.
Which is fair. I'm surprised you didn't just get outside and then be like, oh, snap, this is outside. And then go back in the cave.
No.
Being a person who has played a Souls game before, knowing that these areas are exploratory.
Well, the issue was that
exploratory. Explorative.
I think the question is curious, or like the word, excuse me, not question. Curious or just
So I mean,
inquisitive.
It's not my fault you skipped the tutorial.
Well, listen here, bub. The other concern that I had was not being able to level up yet, because I wasn't gonna go in there and just like keep having to keep getting my souls. Granted, I know as a Souls player that early on
runes.
Yep. Excuse me. I'm not super concerned about maintaining my runes because there's going to be farming spots later on that are going to be like way better. Like that's similar to real life. Like, why fucking worry about this money right now? I'm going to have way more money later. But like,
it's a really bad habit to be in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do I need to worry about this?
Unless you have assets that are building for you. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay. We're a video game podcast. But anyway,
that's funny.
But I'm just not really that concerned about like saving up my runes that early on because I know like later on I'm going to make a lot more. But I am concerned about wasting my time.
Yeah.
And this game, in order to progress evenly, properly, and efficiently, you need to be maintaining your currency to level up and like not too often, but sometimes, and depending on your build or how you're playing, buy stuff. You know what I mean? So I just didn't want to explore that. My first priority was just being able to level up and have like the shrine or whatever, which as we've come to learn, there's not really that's an interesting point in this game. There's not really a shrine. Really, there's like,
what do you mean?
I guess you call them like Dark Souls 3 had a Firelink shrine, like where Nexus.
You have the round table.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, brain fart. That's
you have the round table hold, which is not necessarily a place that you gain access to immediately. So let's say this: the very beginning, you did not have the ability to level up. You had to first find Melina, I believe. I forget her name. I think it's Melina. I want to say it's Melina.
Something like that, yeah. I can't remember it.
I also want to make a note that you didn't want to explore because you didn't want to waste your time. And one of the biggest aspects of this game is exploring.
I didn't. When did I say I didn't want to waste my time? I said I wanted to.
You just.
Well,
I understand. What
I was being
saying.
patient with like beating bosses and stuff.
I get it. Anyway, so you find Melina. Melina gives you the ability to level up. You find out this thing that you're maidenless, so you're tarnished instead of like an embered or a.
Which is kind of funny because that's used in Mortal Shell.
No, you're
tarnished and untarnished.
You're there is a tarnished but it's referring to the mask and the metal. But in Elden Ring, you're called not a fledgling.
That's
you're called something. You're called something else. It's actually really cool. I actually liked it, but it doesn't matter.
Mortal Shell.
In Mortal Shell.
Oh, I just actually went back and watched that the beginning of that a little bit.
Yeah, dang, I forget what you're called. It was really cool. I liked it. But anyway, so you're not an embered or
hollowed
or anything. You're called
deprived. No, that's a build. That's a class.
You're tarnished. And all of the tarnished have maidens. Except for you. You're maidenless. You don't have a maiden. I don't exactly know what that means. Other than you're not bound by anything. Which is really interesting. So, and then there's this big like religious thing with like the 2 fingers and stuff, which is crazy. And I don't exactly like.
Dude,
the thing.
You could have a whole
the thing about
the
story of Souls games, Bloodborne, Elden Ring is that like you said, this story is not in your face. You don't necessarily know every aspect. They can say one sentence and you can think it means absolutely nothing. But in reality, it actually has to do with everything.
Yeah, and it's actually like pretty big.
So Melina gives you the ability to level up. Then you progress the game, and I think I've all but confirmed when you get to Margit, who is the first real boss potentially you could do. Most people come across Margit because you're told to go through Stormvale. You go through Stormvale, you encounter Margit. After Margit, when you return to a point of grace, you can talk to Melina again, and Melina then takes you to the Round Table Hold, which is like your central hub for. There's a store there. There's a couple different stores there potentially over time. That's where you can find NPCs to buy your magics. That's where you can upgrade your weapons via the blacksmith.
I will say that place is
stuff like that.
In typical old, just like Souls fashion. The Nexus or like the shrine or whatever, it's super weird and complicated to traverse.
There are 4 doors.
I swear, dude, I couldn't find that blacksmith, and you text me, you're like, excuse me, you're like, dude, he's just in the round table, and I was
almost guarantee you just kept missing the doorway.
Yeah, it was just the doorway was so easy to miss because it looks all the same. It just looks, there's a ton of doors and like. The hall panels in the room all look like doors, kind of. Or
it's because it's literally just a big round room, and there are 4 doorways into it. Right? There's one that goes to the 2 fingers. There's one that goes out to this balcony, and then there are 2 to each side of that, and one goes to the blacksmith, and one goes to the 2 maiden shop.
Yeah.
And then the other NPCs populate the area in different places for different reasons. That's it. Those are the only doors out of the actual round table. And I've done it too. And I definitely did it at the very beginning. I was like, where the heck am I going? Where am I? It's not that complicated. I think our brains make it more complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah.
I just remember turn right, turn left. So if you go in the door and you turn right, when you go through the door, then you're going to immediately turn left. And that's where the blacksmith is.
Yeah.
The turn left, turn right is the wrong side. That's how I've approached it.
That's funny. But
most of my hold's empty anyway.
Yeah, so that's your hub or your shrine, your nexus or whatever it is. It's the round table.
And then for the most part, unlike any other Souls game,
And Melina, like he said, is like your fire keeper.
She's your fire keeper. She's your maiden.
The
She's like, since
kindler.
you don't have a maiden, I'll fill in that place right now.
Yeah.
Um,
You can also cuddle in this game, which I think is
yeah, at a 5%
interesting.
detriment to your health.
You can cuddle, and it's
You know that takes life away from you, right?
permanently.
You lose 5% of your maximum.
That's great to just get the ability like that you can use from it, or
The
when
charm she gives you takes away 5% of your health
when you use it.
while you have it in your inventory.
Oh, so you have to use it. And
You have
get
to
rid
use
of
it and you get your health back. Yeah.
Oh, that's
But then every
stupid.
time you, well, it's not like, so you hug her, she gives you the item takes away the 5%. Then you use it, then you get the 5% back. But then next time you go to hug her, she gives you the item back. But you have to hug her in order to actually talk to her and progress her storyline.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. I see it. I haven't done that at all.
So you
It's
just-
just like another aspect of the game that I haven't
Just
dipped
make
too much
sure,
into.
you use the item afterward. It's not a big deal. It also increases poise. So if you're having struggle, you could pop it and gain your poise.
Dude, I'll talk about poi in the second half.
So
Because that's like that dips a little bit into my build.
So we'll come back. We're coming up on our break. I know we've kind of like been all over the place with this. One of the big things that I want to talk about real quick is what sets this game apart from everything.
Yeah.
And this game is massively huge. Like, unlike, I feel all the Souls games, even Bloodborne, Demon Souls, they're all very compact into their levels. Dark Souls was phenomenal because it was actually felt open world and you could kind of go wherever. This is truly open world where you can literally go anywhere. You can just, I'm going to ride off to the west and go and keep going until you can't go no more.
Yeah, we have a horse.
You have a horse.
Torrent. He's
Torrent.
the goat.
I think he is.
Almost,
I think
literally.
he's more of. I don't know if he's a. I don't think he's a horse.
He's kind of a goat horse ram thing.
He's like a yak,
Yak's a good way of putting it.
but
Yeah.
he's very fast like a horse,
Yes.
and he climbs like a freaking mountain goat.
Yeah, he
He can double jump and stuff. Anyway, it's super cool. But this map is huge, and that's different. So I've seen people compare it to Breath of the Wild. I don't like that comparison, but it does make sense if it gives you a idea of the scope of how open this game is. And you can find caves, and you can find overworld bosses and enemies everywhere, castles, churches, which are necessary places, temples of sorcery, the Eye of Sauron. That's wild. It's true though. It's not literally the Eye of Sauron, but it definitely gives you that feel. It's crazy. All kinds of stuff. And
Yeah,
you don't
there's
have
a
to do
whole
any,
lot.
you don't have to do any of the bosses. I think if you want to beat the game, you have to beat 2. Instead of lords from the other Dark Souls games, you have demigods. And I believe you have to beat 2 of them to actually access the end of the game to do it.
I didn't know that.
But you don't have to fight them all, and you don't necessarily have to fight them in any kind of order. Kind of like in Dark Souls, the very first Dark Souls, you could go anywhere you wanted. You weren't bound to a specific thing.
Direction, yeah.
But areas definitely level up depending on
We've talked about that.
Where you are.
Difficulty difficulty barriers, difficulty pathways.
So we're gonna come back. We're gonna take a real quick break. We're gonna talk about our builds, what you're playing, what I'm playing. We're gonna talk about maybe our favorite moments of the game so far, and positives and negatives of the game.
I think that sounds like an awesome idea. But so far, what do you like of the game so far? Or what do you think?
Dude,
Yeah or no?
right now it's 10 out of 10 for me
10 out of 10?
so far.
For sure. 10 out of 10. Welcome back.
Oh, I didn't even say 1.
Oh,
You're just ready.
I thought your
He's-
space.
Oh no, I was like readjusting. Anyway, we're back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Dude, that's the second week in a row that we have ruined well, last week we kind of I loved that clip from last week where you were like, "Oh, why ruin?" I was like, "No, you didn't really
No,
ruin."
you didn't. You
That's
just did something different.
Funny.
It was.
But yeah, welcome back. Welcome back to the Scrub Hub Game Club podcast where we talk about your favorite video games.
And we are talking Elden Ring, the second opinion of Elden Ring.
That's right. I didn't have a 30-second challenge this week, so I didn't have to eat hot sauce. I was thinking about it.
Oh, those challenges will come, and they will go
for sure.
I thought about like coming back, be like, dude, but you totally failed the last one.
I
we
did fail.
established,
Yeah,
we established the rule after. If
Yeah.
you saw that, his time got extended. It was pretty funny.
yeah, that's really right here is like.
I worked really
So
hard on
good.
that too.
Yeah, it looked great.
So anyway, we were talking about the game and what we like and not like about this game.
Yeah. First though, I'm interested. Told me a little bit about it, but what's your build?
Oh, my
'Cause
build.
That's
So-
always the interesting part of Souls games.
So you always
them.
have these options to go with different classes. And some of them are like warriors. Some of them, they added stuff like the astrologer and the confessor, which are more mage-ish based. They start with a little higher. I actually went with the confessor, which gave me a boost to my faith, which is magic based, despite me being usually a melee person in the Souls games. And it also gave me a boost to mind, which is again in regards to getting FP, which are your faith points. I don't know what FP stands for.
I don't know.
It's
what
the
it
points
is.
you use
Focus points.
maybe, to actually cast your magic.
I'm assuming that's probably what that means. Or
But it was only a
kinda
couple
lame.
extra points. But then I went really heavy into strength, so I was doing a lot of melee. And 80 hours later, only in the last actually probably 10 hours or so, I've started converting and going into a mixed melee mage kind of.
like a battle caster kind of.
Yeah, like a battle
I think that
mage,
sounds
battle
cool.
mage type of a style. Like, so I have this sweet like build, this blood sword that causes blood buildup, which does a huge chunk of damage once that gets built up. But then I can switch and I have another sword that like freaking just blasts this huge energy beam. And then I have my staff in my left hand or my shield. Depends on what's the situation's happening.
Yeah. So it's a little versatile.
Mhm.
You like
Yeah. Oh,
that.
I love the ability to do whatever I want without any kind of restrictions. I may not be the strongest in either, but I can do both.
Right. And that's fun. I think this game gives a very interesting take on customization for your characters, whereas a lot of older this is a whole nother topic, maybe an update, but how the longer a game exists, the stronger certain archetypes are going to the stronger the peaks are going to become for people to be playing those because they're just min-maxed
Mhm.
so hard. But this game, it's so diverse that I don't know. You really just have an opportunity to play the kind of game you want to play and still succeed.
Oh yeah.
But
Within PvE.
Yeah, within PvE, but it's still fucking hard. It's like still super.
It's still
super
hard.
difficult.
Like, don't be distracted if you're watching and you see these things on TikToks and people are like, "Oh, magic is super overpowered" and stuff. I don't like when people say something's overpowered. Usually, it's because
That's your fault.
Usually, it's because you struggled on a boss and then you watch someone come back and they beat that exact same boss with some sort of magic and obliterate the boss. Okay. If you're watching this on TikTok, not this, but you're watching those videos on TikTok, 9 out of 10 times that person skipped that boss because you don't have to do any boss in any order. You can go around these big places, grind it into a specific stat, then came back and fought that boss when they
Yeah.
were more powerful. That's
And
the point.
found new items and
That's the point of the game. If you can't beat the boss, you leave. You go find something. You become more powerful and you come back and you just destroy them
yeah.
with whatever you have. And that's what you're seeing a lot. And it's giving a bad flavor to the game, in my opinion. And it's making these people see this game and be like, "Oh, this is overpowered," or "This, whatever. What's the point of that? That's not fun." It's like, no, this game is built exactly for you to do whatever you want, however you want. If you want to go fight freaking Renala first, get her magic, which I've seen, and come back and fight Godric using the magic you got from her, which is crazy strong, but it requires level 70 intelligence. Like, you're still spending a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of stuff into runes just to get to level 70 in that one stat.
Mm-hmm.
That's 60 levels if you start off the way you started off.
Yeah. I started off Wretch. Dang. I was going to say something. I was gonna say something.
Mm.
I was thinking in my head.
It's a great podcast.
Squirrel.
You're gonna say something.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something because you were saying
Words.
Words. Oh, I think this game, it's like you were saying all this. People, you were saying how people were saying certain items and certain builds and stuff are overpowered. On the opposite end of that, people oftentimes, I think this is traditional Souls games. People give up on them because they're too hard.
Oh yeah.
And
Sometimes
people,
it just happens.
yeah, and people, I'm sure with this game, I think has had a further expanse to new players than probably any other Souls game has had, prior to maybe Demon Souls, because I think that was the first big commercial.
Demon Souls was the first big one, but Demon Souls the accessibility of Demon Souls was so low.
Oh, it was.
It was so low. Like people either played it and you got it or you hated it.
Exactly.
Because you didn't get where this you just had to get to a point of grace to be able to level up. In Demon Souls, you had to beat the first boss.
No, you had to get to a certain point of grace. I think because you get to points of grace prior
in Elden Ring. You had to get to a certain point of grace. Yes. To be able to level up. A certain one, sure. But, and so you could explore and then never be able to level up. Exactly. I understand that. But in Demon Souls, you had to beat the first boss.
Yeah, which...
If you could not beat that boss, you could never level up.
So, yeah, and where I'm going with that really is, like, there was never a time, I think, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong here, where new players were playing a Souls game without really knowing what it was.
Yeah.
So right now we're getting a lot of people playing Elden Ring that are like, man, this game's too hard. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of,
that's fine.
This is hard. They need to add, I've seen people say they need to add difficulty settings for this game. And it's like, no, bro, that's not what this been around is. Like, forever.
And here's the thing. Okay. Life does not have a difficulty lever.
I wish it did. I'd be on very easy.
I'd
be like, very easy.
Forever. I would not do that. I just think that, and this is just my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. But if things were to be so easy all the time, and structured that way, what fruit do you have to really look back on and say, like, I worked for this, I earned it, and I feel like I've accomplished something. And that's, in my opinion, just kind of how life is. In Souls games, when they're structured well, I think Elden Ring might be like the most fleshed out.
Elden Ring has like Souls all game. The best parts of all the Souls games.
Right. Which is an interesting topic. It's literally called the land between. It's the lands between. But that's kind of how Souls games are. It's hard. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you hate it and you get frustrated. But you're going to, if you have the perseverance and the persistence to keep working at it and watch the screen, pay attention to your enemy. If you need to go work out and fucking get some runes and level up, you gotta do that. Maybe find a new item or two, rework your strategy, whatever it is. It's up to you as the player to have the perseverance and consistency to keep working at that boss until you beat it. And then when you get it done, you're like, there we fucking go.
Dude, like it's so funny.
That's life.
I was playing with a buddy who hadn't fought Godric yet. Right? And Godric is the first demigod that you are probably going to encounter, the first actual struggle of the game. And I remember it took me several times to actually beat him my first time. I'm like, oh, finally I beat him, yes.
Yeah.
And then I was helping my buddy. And bro, like it was still so hard. Going back and just beating him again, I'm like, dude, I didn't have this problem when I fought him. And I'm trying to help my buddy, and because he's such a low level, it obviously drops all my stats too. And I'm just like, bro, this...
And it makes them harder when you increase more players.
It definitely gives them more health.
Yeah.
It gives them a larger health pool. I think it's like 1.5 times as much health, and then it's 2 times with 3 people.
Yep.
That might be wrong. But like, it's something like that. But like, it was just so hard. And we fought him like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And we're like, oh my God, finally beat him, but it was hard.
It's
So
it's satisfying. It's rewarding. That's what I think that's what the thing is about these games is they're rewarding.
it's kind of a life lesson though. Like just
That's what I'm
just
saying.
because you overcome something and you got past it doesn't mean it won't be just as hard if you ever come back to it.
That's right, and you need to accept that. You need to accept that hard work is something that is a concrete law of this world or life. Is that hard work is required for the things that you want to accomplish, regardless of sometimes. Because sometimes when you go back late game and fight Godric again or whatever, if that was a possibility, you would stomp him.
Oh yeah,
You would murder
people
him.
are doing that.
But sometimes, you're not gonna be the fucking goat. You know what I mean? Which is an amazing thing about Souls games is, by the way, you're not some crazy immaculate god figure. You're a normie.
You're maidenless tarnished.
Yeah, you're just this normal thing. Actually, you're even further than normal, I think, in a lot of ways. Sometimes in Souls games, they almost diminish your value as a character to the point where
Like Dark Souls
you're
3.
nothing. Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, you're just the remainder of the ashes that we've pulled together.
Yeah, you're nothing, but it is your quest to do this. And that's not really how it is in Elden Ring. There's more grace to it. There's more grace to it. And they're given the character's given more of a purpose.
You
more
definitely have
reason.
a purpose. Like people look up to you in a weird way of not
It's
that
like an honor thing. It's what an honor to be you and have to go through these trials and stuff.
like
kind of
so many
thing.
things. Like have you done Bach's quest line? Bach is the monkey.
No.
He's your seam dude. He allows you to customize your gear.
No, but I would like to do that more because I would love to do the alterations.
So he has a really cool like just quest line, but partway through, to emphasize this, like he looks at you, he's like, you've been so kind to me. He's like, can I call you Lord? He's like, because I look up to you and I want you to be the Elden Lord and stuff like that. It's really like cool.
That's crazy. Yeah, so there is kind of this thing where, and I've noticed it a little bit in the story where things at the higher in this hierarchy of Elden Ring, things at the top are changing, I think, than what they used to be, and there's a disagreement in the world, the lands between, and some people are kind of for that, some people are against that. And that's what I've picked up on.
So very true.
And that I think in some ways you can go either way you want. You can go for
I think that's very true.
Other. I don't know exactly what it is that's changing because, like I said, the story is very convoluted. But
the story's convoluted. You know what? The first instance, I don't know if you did this. The Rose Church. Did you ever get to the Rose Church?
I'm not sure.
Can I tell a part of this quest
Sure.
line? This is definitely a spoiler in this quest. But it also gave me the first impression of what you're saying, where there's clearly something's happening, and then there's clearly an oppositional force. Okay, so you pursue this quest line and you meet this guy at the Rose Church. He asks you about the Two Fingers, which are currently like your leaders, or that's what everyone is basing them on. And he gives this implication that the Two Fingers are not what they seem. And he allows you, that's how you start your PvP journey, kind of. Well, when you come back to him after you fulfill a certain requirement, he gives you a cloth. And this cloth is supposed to be dipped in maiden blood. He's like, in order to gain favor of the Blood King, like normally a tarnished would kill their own maiden. The person who is supposed to guide them and help them through this order of the Two Fingers. And he's like, but because you are maidenless, any maiden will do. Like, just go find a maiden, get her blood, and soak this thing. And that was the first moment I'm like, holy crap, that's dark. You're like, your maiden who's supposed to guide you, and he just gives you this option to be like, if you had a maiden, your goal would be to go and kill her.
Jeez.
Just to start this, like, dark quest line. I'm like, what the heck is happening in this world? So
there's like a sense
really
of
cool.
freedom, I think, that's really not being talked about here because you mentioned that a little bit earlier, is like when you die, you're not really like tethered to something to where you're stuck here or whatever. Obviously, like you said, grace is what's bringing you back. But fucking squirrel. Dude.
There's a lot of squirrels here at Scrub Hub. We have a squirrel problem.
There's
If you can have a what's the
pest control?
Pest control, contact us at 1-800-SCRUBHUB.com. That'd be great. Get rid of these squirrels.
Say, you're not really like stuck here. God damn it! How does that happen, dude?
I don't know. You're not stuck here. You have the freedom to go wherever you want.
Oh, the freedom. So like, I kind of had it a little bit. I mean, that did bring it back some. There's just like, God damn it, freedom goes in two different directions. Is basically, I think, the general premise that I was going to go with it. This game offers a lot of freedom. What were you saying just before that?
What do you mean? Like, I'm not. I was
right
just,
before I was saying I started.
I was just talking about the quest line and how it clearly shows the opposition in the world. Like something is happening and something else, because you had voiced that you feel like you can go one way or the other. So I was just showing an example of that.
What was the example again? Not the whole thing.
The guy killing, giving you the option to kill a maiden.
Oh, right. So like, that's what basically I was saying is like, there's this in other games you're like tethered to one place and you're like driven towards like a certain purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Usually for like, you get choices at the end whether you rekindle the fire or not. Basically, that's one choice you got. That's still the end of the game. So you got a choice, but it didn't really affect anything in the middle of it. But like when you get to a story like that, like in Elden Ring, you're pretty free to make choices, I guess, that aren't just like, I mean, I guess you could kill NPCs in other games and whatnot, but it's like
you can, but like I don't know what the grand scheme of that.
Something as dark as killing your maiden,
like that's crazy.
And, like soaking this cloth in her blood to get this item, but now that you can't, you go to a different one. I don't know. It's just like some of the options, because I don't think that's clearly not that at the end of the game. That's not all the way at the end of the game.
No, you can do
like
it right at the beginning.
Right, exactly.
That's I think you have to beat Godric
pretty early on, but it's like a really interesting, weird, and grotesque option that's got some story built behind it. That's like kind of not like you get that in other games. I know that I didn't really play a whole ton of Bloodborne.
Bloodborne's dark,
and you said that Bloodborne's pretty dark.
Bloodborne's really dark.
The other Souls games aren't really like, I mean, when you play a lot of, I'm sure the general public or your average 40-year-old mom would be like, man, Dark Souls is gross. It's dark. But like, it's really not. I mean, it's dark. It's clearly dark.
It's literally about darkness and fire. Like,
but it's more
Dark Souls is like light and dark pretty much on its face.
Right. But it's not like, if you compare it side by side with like Bloodborne and some aspects of Elden Ring, it's more fantastically dark than grotesque.
Yeah,
in some ways.
It's not gross. Bloodborne is closer to the gross kind of dark.
Yeah.
Than the Elden Ring is so far.
And Elden Ring's like the in-between, land betweens. And even like, you even have stuff like the samurai armors with like the fire monks and some of those like the enemies that you encounter, they kind of remind me of what's the other Souls game? Sekiro, yeah. So I don't know. It's just like super interesting.
What was that called? You didn't get Souls in there either, but it wasn't.
I didn't play it.
Like, I don't think you got Souls. I forget what that currency was.
You did get a currency though.
You did get a currency when you killed enemies, just like anything else.
Was it just like coins?
I think it was coins.
Yeah.
So this might be just, like I said, this is like a combination of all of them kind of get together.
See, and it's so strange that this game is just
I'm about to, when we're done with this, we only have a few minutes left, unfortunately.
I haven't even talked about my build.
I know, you need to. Well, we're pretty much...
We've kind of interweaved throughout like a whole lot of different stuff.
We haven't finished this game, so it's safe to say that we're going to come back and really talk about this game and our experiences when we're done.
Yeah.
For sure. How long is that going to be? Don't know.
Yeah, that's really
But
just
yeah,
up in the
talk
air.
about your build. I've already said mine. I started off as the Confessor, and now, like I said, I'm that kind of battle mage kind of a character.
Right. So
You did say
I
you started off as the Wretch.
yeah, I started off as the wretch. Really, I picked up doing that in Dark Souls 3. Just I like the club. It's easy and you get some like pretty good base stats right off the
Clubs
rip.
OP, please nerf.
It is, yeah. It is pretty
Please
OP,
nerf.
especially considering in this game.
Has not. It doesn't affect my game at all. Just nerf his game.
Right, just mine, because in other games the club had this like first off the you get war cry from the weapon art.
Oh,
Which
you were going to talk about poise.
Oh, well, this goes with my build.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you for reminding me. So, so I really like that weapon art right off the bat in the beginning of the game. Oh my god.
Sorry.
It's nice to get that weapon, that damage buff like pretty early on. I like that. Plus the club, has a nice stagger ability on top of it.
You know what? Real quick, I don't think I found a club.
You haven't found one?
I don't think I have
Like a
found a
normal one?
single club.
Not have you found like a large or a great club?
I don't know.
Jeez, I have
I'm
the
sure
large
you.
one.
I'm sure you have. If you have found a club, then I have the ability to find a club.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that though. Like, I don't think I even have access to one
Mhm.
right at the moment, unless I find one somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
But so the club has a nice like stagger on top of it, and in this game in particular, when you do the jump, which how have we not talked about that?
Jumping, you can
You
jump
can
in this
jump.
game.
That's pretty amazing.
I did say Torrent could double jump.
That's right. But you as the player can jump, which is crazy, and that adds a whole nother dynamic, I think, to combat and the environment, which also means they added more obstacles in the middle of boss fights. Like it's fucking Field City. You're fighting in a fucking an office with like chairs and like
Yeah.
walls and shit. Like, how did I get fucking here? Why is there a printer? You know what I mean? You're fighting literally with so many just objects around you. So that can
Yeah.
get kind of frustrating sometimes. Anyway, so the club's really nice, and I picked up on that with Dark Souls 3. They carried that over here. So when you do the jump attack with a strong, it's just like it slams, and it usually staggers like pretty early on. So that's how I started. Currently it's all I literally got my strength to 20 before leveling up any other stat.
Mhm.
I just pushed that all the way straight up to 20, and then I mixed between my vigor and my endurance. I got my my endurance up faster to 20. But I kind of played with it as I was putting more armor on and finding pieces, because you don't start with anything with Wretch.
Yeah, you
It's
just
just
have
a
whatever.
loincloth and the club. So I was like slowly finding armor, and as I was
Which
finding
kind of
more
is like
stuff,
give and take, right? So you're basically like class canon style for a little while.
yeah. So and I use iframes. I tend to use my iframes to roll around. My enemies don't get hit. I don't use a shield or anything. I usually two-hand my weapons. I use great weapons. But I don't like the fat roll, which is why I usually go naked. And that's why going with Wretch early on is fine for me, because I'm not really worried about getting hit or wearing armor. I just really would like to use that large weapon without the equip load being so high that I have to be nimble. If I'm going to play this way, I have to be nimble.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, I'm 80 hours in and I still have the exact same starting armor, which for the Confessor is literally just a robe and some cloth armor
It works.
that I've had the entire game. I think my poise level is 12
Right, but now
out of, I don't know, 100, I think,
Dude.
means you can't be staggered.
But now that I've built my endurance up so far and my vigor, they're all past 20. Like I said, I've only put about like I think 30 hours in the game, so I'm not like a crazy high level. But now with a certain set of armor that I have on, my poi is like 60 something.
Jeez, so you just tank stuff.
So even fighting Margit, I helped my buddy fight Margit, and Margit would like during the first time when I fought him and killed him, he would like every time he hit me, fuck me up, fuck me up, fuck me up. When I fought him with my buddy, he would like hit me, and I'm like, pull up, bitch. I just stand there, like he wouldn't be able to stagger me. I would finish my attacks and just like
That's
just
nice.
crushing his health, you know.
I'm gonna do something to increase my poise
And no fat rolling
to not have to worry about just that. I get like that's something I deal like just facing off against an enemy. Like sometimes you go to do the jump slam attack, and sometimes the enemy swings and goes to hit you at the same time, and you both connect. Well, you both take damage, but I don't have high poise, so I still get like knockback.
Yeah.
and then I can't continue my attack before they start because their poise is higher.
Yeah, right. And that's
bummer.
usually another thing. Thematically, I've always just liked that kind of idea of a character's like the big, strong, tanky guy. You know, he uses like one
pretty
big
cool.
weapon. So that's usually just what I've always gone for. But that's basically it. It's done me pretty good, and I really like it. I feel like my character looks.
That's
dope.
it. So with the
I
last,
do say my final weapon because it kind of matters.
Yeah.
As I use the grafted greatsword.
Crafted Greatsword, sweet.
Because
It's a cool sword.
Basically, it's sick. It reminds me of Game of Thrones-esque, which is funny because George R. R. Martin on Elden Ring, you know, kind of making a little bit of an appearance of himself, I think. But the build right now is basically vigor, endurance, strength, swing super hard, but then use talismans, other abilities to put my stats up even further.
Yeah, I don't do anything stat boosting, but most of it's blood buildup right now with some magic. So it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun.
And that's where we're at
Makes
right
things
now.
super interesting.
I think that's honestly, I'm excited for the next, the follow up, which is what the next one will be called. I'm excited for the follow up because we've left this episode off with our builds kind of.
See how much it changes.
Yeah, see how it changes.
I almost guarantee I'm gonna go almost straight magic.
Really,
dude, magic is so fun in this game. I'm loving it.
I am not looking forward to the caps on my abilities and stuff. Because I like going that strength build, and at some point it does soften up.
I mean, like you have a soft cap at 20, but then you don't hit another one until like 50.
It's like, yeah.
So you have a while before whatever, and then the hard cap's 99.
Right.
So you can't go above 99.
So let us know in the comments below. And if you're listening to this, go find us on social media what your builds are and how you're enjoying the game so far. Because there's plenty to talk about. We could talk for hours.
We could keep talking. There's so much. We didn't even talk about like different encounters we've had, NPC quests. We didn't talk about the bosses. We didn't talk about the areas in general. There are multiple areas. There's so much, and I'm sure we'll dive into a lot of that. We'll talk about a lot of our favorite places, maybe favorite enemies, least favorites, how much we hate the game now when we're done.
So yeah, 2 questions for you in the comments. What's your build currently? And how did you guys react to the Tree Sentinel? Because that's one of the biggest memes I've seen.
Oh yeah,
seeing the Tree Sentinel the first time, they're like, "Oh my god, what is this big horse man?"
I beat him my first try.
No, you fucking.
I did first try.
You was like level 80 when you went back.
Oh yeah, I had already beat Godric. I had already beat Godric and everything.
That's so funny.
I mean,
but
I beat Godric.
I
I beat Godric at level 19.
Actually, you know, I did beat Godric after I beat Tree Sentinel. So, but anyway, Doc, where can they find you, boss?
You guys can find me as per usual: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram at RX_Bishop_MD.
This is a little strange. No, I don't stream too often anymore, but you can find me in my Discord. I'm starting to become more active in my Discord, and I'm gonna start becoming more active on YouTube as well. Depending if I do some long play stuff, I don't know, but we'll see. But you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, NevrEndingPants without the second E in never. God, these Elden Ring players, man, they gotta learn. What do they gotta learn, Doc?
If you're not good,
gotta get good, man.
Get good. That's what I love right now. Is just seeing all this Elden Ring stuff. Yeah. People talking about go get good, go get good. Be like, yeah, they do. Yeah, you do.
Yes, sir. We will catch you guys on the next one, and thank you so much for tuning in on another episode of Scrub Hub Game Club.